Across the Sydney CBD, a hidden scam is out of control. Organised syndicates are leasing dozens of highly sought-after million-dollar apartments and subletting them to desperate international students. As you're about to see, these apartments are then overcrowded with tenants, often living in squalor and paying a premium. And Sydney Council says it's powerless to act. If that wasn't bad enough, legitimate owners are also being scammed on another level, with fears that millions of dollars from Strata funds may have been misappropriated. Caro Meldrum-Hanna reports.
It's midday at the Regis Towers, one of the largest residential and commercial developments in Australia, located in the heart of the Sydney CBD. Inside, an all too familiar disaster has just been discovered. So, Michael, this is a pigsty, and obviously there have been way too many people living in a two-bedroom apartment here. We see bunk beds. What's been happening here?
This is the unfortunate reality of inner-city living. It's the owner's been too upset to go to camera, and unfortunately, as a result of over-tenanting, she's faced with a very hefty bill for repairs and maintenance.
The owner was too distressed to talk to 7:30, but she agreed to let our cameras in to record the mess. Michael Owens is the letting manager and service department operator for Regis Towers, and is here to help clean up.
No matter what we try and do, it seems to be reoccurring, and we're not making any groundwork.
The owner told 7:30 off camera that when she last inspected the property in May, she saw no evidence of overcrowding. She thought there were only 4 people, international students from Asia, sharing the apartment. She was wrong. From my count, it looks as if there would have been at least 11 possibly people in here.
Possibly. And again, in some extreme cases, that's not uncommon. We estimate that out of all of the residential complexes in the city centre, that at least they're at least 25% over-tenanted.
The leaseholder responsible for this mess has disconnected his phones and vanished.
The owners aren't to blame, the managing agents aren't to blame. It's a very organised structure in terms of the over-tenanting.
3 years ago, Michael Owens left Brisbane and moved to Sydney to work and live at the Regis Towers. Upon arrival, Owens inspected almost all of the 653 units in the complex, and this is what he found.
There was what we would call crudely rental scamming, and it was on a large scale. Initially, it wasn't uncommon for us to see apartments with multiple bunk beds, bedding in the lounge, bedding in sunrooms, bunk beds, mattresses on the floor. It's not uncommon. And when people become aware of this issue and how well organised it is and well structured it is, I think they'll be surprised. And I think it's something that needs to be addressed.
In the most extreme case, one apartment was divided up by crudely built plywood partition walls to create tiny internal rooms. Across Sydney, once prestigious buildings are slowly morphing into high-rise ghettos, all under the watch of the New South Wales government. Under existing state legislation, there is still no law against overcrowding.
We've been in dialogue with Council for almost 3 years now on a number of issues, and they're aware of it. We're frustrated to discover that they're effectively powerless to act, and we wish there was a stronger law or stronger regulations in place.
No one at the City of Sydney Council was available for an interview with 7:30, but in a written statement, the council said,
"Overcrowding is a matter for the New South Wales state government. The city has very limited powers to investigate the problem, and evidence is hard to gather."
If the council wants evidence, this may help. 7:30 has obtained a 2010 internal briefing document written for the Regis Towers Owners Corporation by one of its own.
Interviews have revealed alarmingly in some scenarios, mattresses and or bunk beds have been occupied in night and day shifts, doubling their profits. This practice by the primary leaseholder means they make up to $1,600 per week per 2-bedroom apartment. From this, approximately $650 per week goes to the apartment owner through the real estate agent, and the balance they pocket, with the most serious cases having up to 14 beds in a 2-bedroom apartment.
We've come across several major players. They, in some cases, have up to 30 or 40 apartments into one complex. They advertise on street poles, social websites, and they have effectively staff that move furniture, in some cases repair and clean rooms, and they have a distribution network as well.
If we use the example of someone, say, having control or managing 30 to 40 properties in a complex, how much money could they be making?
Oh, look, it's difficult to say, but it's not a small amount. They are not...
Tens of thousands?
At least.
A month, a week?
If you've got 30 or 40 properties, you could be making tens of thousands of dollars a month.
I've had personal experience of seeing a 2-bedroom unit where I observed 15 beds and a large sofa in that one 2-bedroom unit, and the unit was filthy. It was flooded at the time. The bathroom was dissembled, yet those people were required to live in that unit and pay a rental from either a landlord or an agent who was exploiting them.
While the scammers line their pockets, legitimate owners and occupiers like solicitor John Gould are being fleeced. He's owned a commercial office space in the Regis Towers since the complex first opened 11 years ago.
It has not been recarpeted in 11 years, has not been repainted in 11 years. There is next to no security.
Tonight, he's joining other frustrated owners and occupiers inside the towers for a meeting, but they're not here to talk about chronic overtenanting.
As an owner of a commercial property here, my concern is the upkeep of the building.
The Regis Towers is the largest strata scheme in Australia, with an annual strata fund of up to $5 million. Owners pay thousands of dollars every quarter in strata fees, which are meant to be spent on improving and maintaining the complex. They fear millions may have been misappropriated over several years by some former executive committee members. And they fear strata monies aren't being spent properly by the current executive committee, which is locked in a stalemate.
The current alleged executive committee consists of only 4 members out of 653 units. So 4 people have control of a levy income in excess of $4 million.
Through a process known as proxy farming, outlawed elsewhere but still allowed in New South Wales, 4 owner-occupiers have managed to amass hundreds of proxy votes in order to gain a voting majority.
And so decision-making then becomes a lot easier for them to pass, transactions or pass particular expenses through.
The executive committee have told me that they brought a firm of painters in who charged $600,000. No one can find the painting.
There is absolutely no rigour at all in any way, shape or form.
It's the dramatic spike in plumbing costs over 3 years that has compelled these owners to ask questions. 730 has obtained a draft copy of a confidential internal audit of the plumbing works. It reveals that plumbing costs skyrocketed from just over $40,000 in 2005-2006 to $1 million in 2006-07, $1.2 million in 2007-08 and $1.1 million in 2008-09. The audit concludes.
Checks and balances have not been adhered to, laying the foundation for poor fiscal management or the potential for the misappropriation of funds. In addition to this, it appears that contracts have not been tendered suitably and service agreements for a multi-million-dollar corporation appear to be insufficient, ambiguous, without KPIs, nor with what would be considered adequate transparency in relation to the selection process.
Well, if I said it was over $3 million worth of plumbing works, $3.5 almost million of plumbing works in 3 years, what would you say?
That's excessive.
It's outrageous.
Where?
It's
What
outrageous.
happened? Yeah.
It's outrageous, and the problem is...
And the taps still leak.
Yeah, everything still leaks. And as Phoebe says, you need a forensic accountant to follow the money trail.
The owners have repeatedly written to the Minister for Fair Trading, the CTTT and the Department of Fair Trading, urging an investigation to be called, but to no avail. A spokesman for the Minister for Fair Trading, Anthony Roberts, told 730 he was not available for an interview. 730 also requested an interview with the Commissioner of the Department of Fair Trading, but he was also unavailable. Instead, the department provided this written statement.
New South Wales Fair Trading takes these allegations seriously. A recent request to investigate a number of concerns related to Regis Towers is being assessed.
Many of these owner-occupiers have often voicing their frustration, and they're almost powerless to do anything about it. And it's a shame. We run the risk of some fantastic complexes in the city of Sydney being, run down, and it shouldn't happen.